In this video, we explain how to deploy TLS SSL connections between AAI and the report server. This is a two-way authentication mechanism with steps on both hosts. We start from a situation where AAI and the report server are working until TLS was deployed to AAI, which means the report server can no longer connect and has become inoperable. It cannot draw data to build reports, and the web server is not accessible. We need two-way TLS to be enabled between AAI and the report server to restore functionality, and TLS needs to be deployed to both platforms for the system to work as a whole. The procedure has several steps required both on the report server and AAI hosts, plus some config work in the AAI web interface version 1. We'll explain each step with a simplified diagram and color code to avoid confusion. For this particular module, the AAI host will appear in red, while the report server will appear in blue. This is the procedure. As we've already stated, it has multiple steps. It's important to follow them in this order and to avoid mistakes and typos, or the setup won't work. First, we start from a situation where AAI was installed and was working, and we set up the report server as well. AAI became TLS enabled, which means that the report server was no longer able to communicate. For this presentation to make sense, you must have TLS enabled on AAI before you proceed. We start on the report server hosts. We need to generate a key and a key store. This is a technical requirement for TLS activation. Next, we update the Tomcat configuration and activate TLS in a dedicated config file. On the AAI host, we generate a certificate which will make available to the report server. This is so the report server is able to authenticate with the AAI server. We logically move the certificate file to the report server host. On the report server, we import the certificate to the ca-certs file on the default Java install, defined as Java Home, so that the Tomcat web server is authenticated. We do this a second time in the ca-certs file of the Java version that is dedicated to Jaspersoft. That Java package is found in the report server directory. We update the Jaspersoft web app and Tomcat on the web server so that the stored URL now points to the HTTPS-enabled AAI. We restart the report server. Then we check that Jaspersoft is accessible over HTTPS. This confirms that TLS is configured correctly for the report server. We then generate a certificate on the report server and make it available to the AAI hosts. We import the certificate into the AAI ca-certs key store. This makes the TLS-enabled report server accessible by the AAI host and effectively enables two-way TLS encryption and authentication. For all three ca-certs key stores, the default password is change it in lowercase, unless the administrator has changed it. Finally, we reconfigure the report server in the AAI web interface version 1 under System Tools. Let's start on the report server. We have to enable TLS on this system, which involves two steps. First, we generate a self-signed key in a key store. Next, we'll have to enable TLS for the server in a configuration file, which we'll show in the following step. The key store has a few requirements. The first and last name, which should be the fully qualified domain name. Since our systems are local, we'll just use the host name, but FQDN is normally a requirement. Both key store and key need passwords. For the purpose of this course, we'll make those password in lowercase. This generates a key store file, which we store in the Tomcat conf directory. We execute the key tool command and generate the key in the key store. We'll be prompted for FQDN for first and last name, and the other fields can be left blank. Keys require an alias. We provide a password for the key identified by the alias rep server. Next, we update Tomcat so it is TLS enabled on the report server. We do so in the server.xml file using the connector protocol tag and specify the name and location of the key store file. Next, we use the OpenSSL command on the AAI server to generate a certificate intended for the report server So as to allow it to connect to AAI over TLS, we'll move the certificate to the report server host and import next. We give it a few seconds and ignore the messages. We've brought the certificate onto the report server host. Now we import it twice, once for the Tomcat web server and once for the Jaspersoft reporting solution. Tomcat uses the CA certs key store of the default Java instance, which is identified by Java Home, while Jaspersoft uses a different one found in the Java instance dedicated to Jasper. This is in the report servers directory. Use different aliases for clarity. Unless the administrator has taken the care to change the password, then the default CA certs key store password should be change it in one word, lowercase. On the report server, we update Tomcat, specifically the application context file, which the report server uses to connect to AAI. The URL is currently set to HTTP and the 8080 ports if defaults were used in the initial install. We change to HTTPS and set the port to 8443. We also set the web app to JAWS. Then we restart the report server for these updates to take effect. Next, we check that we're able to log into Jaspersoft using the web UI. Jaspersoft is its own product. It has a login interface. If it's accessible over HTTPS with port 8443, it means TLS is currently configured on the report server. Next, we use the OpenSSL command on the report server to output a report server certificate, which we import into the CA certs key store of the AI server using the default Java instance defined by Java Home. This enables two-way authentication between the two systems. We restart the AAI server. Finally, we open the AAI Web UI version 1 and configure the report server the same way we did when we first installed it, only this time we set HTTPS and the 8443 ports. Check the home page to see if the Insight reports are there. This is confirmation that your system is set up properly. It may take a few minutes. If you run into connection problems, you can try and restart both the AI server and the report server and see if it fixes things. If not, then your configuration is probably faulty.